My name is Dr. Atoda. I want to reassure you that whether you're a patient, family member, or friend, the staff here at Evergreen Hospital promise you that we will do everything in our power to keep our patients alive and healthy. If you're watching this video, you or someone you know may have epilepsy. This video is meant to help answer some of your questions about epilepsy and clear up any misunderstandings you may have. We want you to feel comfortable and safer, whatever your diagnosis may be. After this video, we encourage you to ask your doctor any questions you have. To start off, what is epilepsy? Online, you may find a definition that states that epilepsy is a neurological disorder that may cause seizures or unusual sensations. So, what does that mean? Essentially, epilepsy affects the brain and how your brain signals to the rest of your body. Your brain uses neurons, which are signaling molecules used to tell your body what your brain wants it to do. Epilepsy is caused when the neurons don't signal properly or the signaling message is disrupted. For example, many neurons can send electrical signals all at once during a seizure, which can make you black out or freeze. It's as if your brain overheats. Epilepsy can have a range of symptoms and effects, so how epilepsy affects you can be a lot different compared to other people. The most common symptom of epilepsy is seizures. Seizures are changes in movement, behavior, or consciousness caused by the neurons miscommunicating or being disrupted. These can be characterized by staring into space, falling, blackouts, stiff muscles, convulsions, and much more. Seizures can range from mild to extremely severe. Thankfully, if you have a severe seizure, we have wonderful doctors and nurses who will keep you safe. We understand that this may be very difficult and scary for you, but we hope you know you're not alone. Our amazing nurses will now explain the procedure to help keep you safe.
If a seizure lands you in the hospital, don't worry. There are steps nurses take to ensure your safety during an episode. These are called seizure precautions. A nurse will ask you how often you have seizures, which part of your body are affected, and if you can feel a seizure coming on. That way they can be sure to care for the type of seizures that you have. A lot of the precautions that nurses take inside a hospital can also be replicated outside of the hospital by your caregiver. If you have a seizure at home, you should be turned on your side and your head should be protected just like it would be in the hospital. Your surroundings should be cleared and you should call the doctor. Here's a list of more things the caregiver can do for you in the event of a seizure. They should note when the seizure begins and how long it lasts. They should also note where the seizure began, whether it's your right arm or your left arm. This will help doctors determine which parts of your brain are being affected by seizures. They should also never leave you alone. Instead of going to get help, they should call for help. They should also provide you privacy. A seizure can happen anywhere, but allowing space for medical professionals to help is important. All of these steps would be done by a nurse in the hospital too. After a seizure at home, your caregiver should watch to make sure you're breathing normally, ensure you are entered after seizing, encourage you to keep in a safe position, not getting up unless you have help, and explain to you where you are and what happened. This will reestablish your connection to your surroundings. It's important to tell people around you if you feel an oncoming seizure. This will give them time to respond in the safest way possible. This new diagnosis can feel daunting, but luckily the steps taken to keep you safe are easy to follow. Remember, you can always call your healthcare provider with questions or concerns.
It might be helpful to you to be aware of some different parts of the care process. First, the EEG, or electroencephalogram. EEGs are diagnostics that track the electrical activity of the brain. It is usually performed at times when your doctor is thinking of changing any aspects of your treatment or simply trying to get more information about your seizures. So now is the time that you might expect your doctor to request one, and you might have several during a lifetime. They are completely painless and simply use small electrodes placed around your scalp and head for tracking. The whole process from start to finish usually takes about an hour and happens in the outpatient clinic of our hospital. Your doctor will inform you more about the procedure if prescribed. Your doctor might also want to begin suggesting a plan for treatment. The most common treatment is medication, known as AEDs, or anti-epileptic drugs. It should be inspiring to note that 70% of people living with epilepsy are able to successfully control their seizures by regularly taking AEDs. There are over 25 options for these kinds of medications that can be specialized to best fit your unique needs, and it is likely that your doctor will discuss these options with you as a first step. However, if medications are not the best fit for you, you can consider other options. One of the most common secondary options is surgery. More testing will be required to decide if you are a good candidate, but the tests leading up to this decision are non-invasive and could simply be another EEG or brain imaging such as an MRI or PET scan. These can all help to localize the origin points of your seizures and see if there might be a structural cause for your epilepsy, like scar tissue, for example, that can be fixed with resective surgery. This simply means that the problem can be removed. In optimal candidates, surgery has had the capacity to change lives. Finally, researchers around the world are currently working to find a cure for epilepsy. In the future, one such developing therapeutic might be available for some kinds of epilepsy. This technology, known as TANGO, or Targeted Augmentation of Nuclear Gene Outputs, would use nucleotide segments called ASOs to bind to mutations of the SCN1 gene that are one of the most frequent causers of epileptic activity. This binding would block the negative effects of the mutation and result in successful regulation of your brain's electrical activity. Promising therapeutics like these are not too far in the future and might be available during your lifetime. But for now, our goal is to work closely with you to decide on the most effective treatment that will fit your lifestyle and can lead you to not only have control of your epilepsy, but hopefully live seizure-free.
Having epilepsy means you need to be more alert and cautious in your daily life. This means maintaining a healthier lifestyle to prevent some effects, including popular seizures. You need to be sensible about what you're putting into your body, including avoiding drugs and alcohol as best as you can, because these could possibly lead to triggers for seizures. Your sleep also might be affected on occasions. Adequate sleep and fatigueness can contribute to triggering seizures, and interrupted sleep can make the brain more vulnerable to misfiring. Controlling your epilepsy can take time and patience, so it is important to keep striving forward with yourself. This includes working out. However, if you are planning to try out some new physical form of exercise, I would check in with your doctor to check how safe it is and to be aware of what could happen if you experience a seizure while doing some things such as physical exercise. It's also always important to make sure you have a buddy who's aware of what's happening with you at all times. I've heard of different patients with different stories, including one time where a newly diagnosed patient was in the middle of their high school soccer game senior year, dribbling to go score a winning goal, and then all of a sudden she stopped dribbling. Her muscles began to become stiff and she dropped to the floor. That's when later she went to the hospital and later got introduced to us. Things like this happen even later when you are more under control with your epilepsy. Medic alert bracelets or accessories could also be very helpful, and there will be an example of one shown to you when the doctor comes in. There is not a specific time range to stop playing sports after you have a seizure. However, the greater or more severe a person's seizure, the greater the need for a person to limit or modify their athletic activities.
Although epilepsy can be a worrying disease, it does not have to control your life. As mentioned earlier, 70% of people are able to control their epilepsy with anti-epileptic drugs. If these work for you, be sure to keep taking them in accordance with your doctor's guidelines, as they only work if taken continuously. Even if the epileptic drugs do not work, there are many other options that can help you treat your epilepsy, such as surgery. And even if your epilepsy cannot be fully cured, you are not powerless before it, with many other ways to manage this disease, such as changing your diet and avoiding stressors or triggers such as flashing lights. Epilepsy can be lived with. It is not something that has to control your life. As mentioned earlier, new types of treatments are being researched for epilepsy every day. Most are specific to a certain type of epilepsy, like how Tango is being used to treat the Rett syndrome, a type of epilepsy that mostly affects younger children. We recommend that if you are curious about treatments of your type of epilepsy, you should talk to your doctor about new research being conducted about those types of epilepsy. The most important thing to remember about epilepsy is that you are not alone. If you feel lost or confused about the disease or how to move forward from your diagnosis, you can talk to your doctor or other people with shared experiences. Support groups for epilepsy exist across the country, with organizations such as the Epilepsy Foundation organizing groups to talk about their struggles with epilepsy and learning to live with the disease. Having support through the process, especially at the beginning, is very important, so do not hesitate to reach out to others if you are confused or worried about the future.